My name is Don Swan, and I'm a biologist at Saguaro National Park. Most people know what national parks are. They're beautiful places that people can enjoy. It's also important to know that an essential part of our mission is to protect natural resources like bison and elk at Yellowstone or cliff dwellings at Mesa Verde so that people can enjoy them in 50 or 100 years. In other words, to preserve them for the future. We've done a lot of work with high school students over the years, and for a lot of good reasons. One, high school students can kind of understand more the complexity of what we have to deal with. They're also more in a position to they're going to be the people that will take care of the park in a few years, and this will kind of get them ready for that. What does the park get out of the project? I think the most important thing is actually intangible. Just having high school students out there working alongside us, they bring creativity, they're enthusiastic, they have great energy, they have new ideas, all things that we can really gain from in our work every day. Again, I can't emphasize enough how important it is to realize that parks are about the future, and we can't take for granted the fact that they'll be protected 100 years from now. We have to work hard at that every day. And the only way we're going to do that is to engage the very students that will be involved in leading the park in the future.
Hi, I'm Mariana. I'm a student at Arizona College Prep Academy, ACPA, and we are in Tucson, Arizona, a small charter school, about 120 students.
Why do I come to ACPA? Because of the environment.
You get attention from teachers, you get help when you need it. Everybody's friendly here.
I came to ACPA because it's hands-on learning, and that's how I like to learn.
The school is very nurturing for me from my previous environment.
And I've never been a part of something that has made me feel accepted the way I do feel here.
I wanted to leave and go to a different school, but my second year I decided to stay because of the belief the teachers had in me.
There's such a sense of community and life and just vigorous experiences that people have together. And I keep coming back because that enriches me as a person and not just as a scholar.
Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need somebody to love? Wouldn't you love somebody to love? You better find somebody to love.
We have this little city park right next to our school that we use for various activities, and you can see Saguaro National Park from there. We are 15 minutes away from a national park, and I don't think anybody even realized that or went there.
I personally had never been to Saguaro National Park before our school created a partnership with it.
So how many of you guys have never been to this side of the park before?
But then we got a grant and a partnership with the park. The idea was to do a service learning program, so we would do things that would benefit the park, but we would get a lot of learning out of it.
One of the first things the park did for us was buy us 8 digital cameras. So after that, we naturally went to the park, met the staff, and we just started taking pictures, exploring the place.
Our school does this thing called Exploration Week, where we take a day and sometimes even a week to go out into the community and help. And with Saguaro National Park, one of the first things we did is go out and pull buffalo grass. And I just want to let you know, Saguaro National Park has declared war on this plant.
Recently, I led a buffalo grass pull at Saguaro National Park with my fellow ACPA students. So just imagine a bunch of high school students with pickaxes and rock hammers trekking through the desert and being productive.
I was a bit nervous because I thought I was going to get tired and wimp out, but when I went, it was actually a very good experience, and it made me feel pretty good about myself.
We also help with the saguaro census. Every 10 years, the park counts all of its saguaros. It's just like a people census. We usually work in a group of 4. We find the saguaro, measure how tall it is, count the arms and bird holes, take a GPS coordinate, and then flag it so we don't count it again.
The census was a fantastic opportunity because my entire school was out there. We got to meet and interact with researchers and people from all over the country. Learning about what they did and what I could do really opened my eyes to many opportunities.
The BioBlitz was a huge event that takes place just once a year at one national park, and 2011 was Saguaro's year. The basic idea was to inventory as many species as possible in 24 hours. It was a combination of education, outreach, science, and media. In layman's terms, it was insane.
In addition to the Saguaro census, we had a service learning project where we led about 100 middle school students on a wildlife tracking event. We took them out into the desert to check cameras and tracking plates that we had set up a week beforehand.
So we started in the safety circle like we normally do, and then we went out into the desert. And it was really cool to find the cameras and the track plates with the kids because we managed to get the cameras and bring them back, and then we got to see the actual pictures that were on the cameras.
And then we went indoors into this main building where there was a whole fair set up. There were booths everywhere where kids could lift tracks off of plates or feel furs and see the skulls of animals that used to be there and were there now. I was actually in control of the skull exhibit and I loved it.
Primarily with the partnership, we conducted a lot of science projects. The park sort of became our personal laboratory, and we tried to collect data for the park to use, but we don't know if they actually used it, and we're the ones who got a lot out of it. For example, our environmental science class did a project at the park. We had to come up with our own research question, like, do more plants grow under mesquite trees or Palo Verde trees? So we used the park and counted little plants under mesquite trees and Palo Verde trees.
During the course of the class, we all came together to solve different problems and work on the science stuff. We threw around ideas for all sorts of different things. We were working on making measurement devices. We had a large telescoping pole design and this little H design. It was just, there was so much energy with all the people working on it, and despite some initial reluctance, everybody got really involved, and it was really cool and exciting to see.
So Jesse and I, for our independent research project, we decided to go out to Saguaro National Park and look at the factors that contributed to algae growth. So we went out and looked at the pool size, the pool depth, pool temperatures, and the amount of algae cover. And by far, it's probably one of the best experiences that I've had with science.
Our service learning project this year was called Applied Research. The park was really interested to see if we could study small mammals using these wildlife cameras. So as a class, we decided to study pack rats. We got 5 different cameras, which we set at 10-second interval video clips.
We had to come up with our own research questions, and in coming up with those, it was really hard, and there's so many choices. But then once you find that one thing you want to research, you can narrow it down and then get the data and then analyze it and in the end make a poster and answer your question.
These cameras are amazing. Normally when you go to the park you don't see anything at all, especially in the middle of the day. But these cameras let us see everything that's going on in the middle of the night. It was amazing. We got hundreds of videos of pack rats, kangaroo rats, coyotes, deer, javelinas, bobcats, and even a badger.
So 2 years ago, I was in a video production elective, and Saguaro National Park wanted us to make a promo video for the BioBlitz. So our whole idea, we're gonna have a villain that would make everything in the park disappear unless we find 1,000 species in 24 hours.
Melanie, we have a big problem.
Not again.
We need more help than we have.
Well, let's call some people in.
Toss-up, multiple choice. How old is a saguaro cactus when it is 1.5 inches tall? W, 10 years. X, 2 years.
Great to see you, great to see you, and great to see you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for having me.
You guys are going to stay with.
So what do we got going on here, Paul? I'm glad you asked, man. Let's go inside. Guys, we got this message. I just gotta play it.
Saguaro National Park.
I was in a class called Expressions of Freedom, and we had entered in a photo competition to commemorate the 150th anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation. So our task was to somehow relate the idea of freedom with a national park.
Our first ideas were cliche, but we did them anyways. We did pictures of us jumping, smiling, laughing, being together, and we even took the challenge of making the word free with our bodies. Then we thought, being Hispanic in Arizona, you don't really feel completely free. So I decided to make little placards and use those in my photos.
In the end, we decided that the purpose of the national park system and Saguaro National Park was to embody that wilderness and provide a place where the plants and the animals can be themselves and be wild and free. And so our expression of freedom was to go out there in the park and be ourselves, wild and free.
Some of my best memories are at Saguaro National Park. I remember doing the Saguaro census and helping all the kids with BioBlitz and even getting cactus stuck in my leg, and everybody was just super helpful there.
My view of the park has changed a lot because I see, every time I would drive by it in the past, I would say, oh, it's just a bunch of saguaros. But now I see it as a place where a bunch of species live. It's a place that you can come and see the beauty of nature.
Everyone thinks of me as a girly girl, but in doing this project and being able to do the research, I was able to become a scientist and a researcher, not just a girly girl.
I feel that Saguaro National Park has become an actual part of my life. I work there every weekend, and I feel that it has changed me in ways I can never imagine, but I've grown more and experienced more things through this partnership than anything else in my life.
I guess I've always been appreciative of national parks, but honestly, I'd never taken the time to visit one or knew that there was one not very far from where I live. And after doing these projects, I realized they're important not just because they preserve wildlife, but they're important for people as well. They're important because we can learn something from there, and I want to keep working with the park. I want to volunteer there. I want to do projects there. So the way my view has changed is that I've actually become engaged with the park instead of thinking about it.